Good morning, everyone. This is a grumpy old guy gaming, and we are looking at Diablo's Bizarre Cinch on the Shining Darkness server today. Level 98 Darkness Field. Let's go ahead and get up a Fairy's Orb and see what we're in for on this adventure. Hope you're all doing well out there. Guess it's a little presumptive of me to say good morning. It's morning when I'm recording this. Meant to record last night. Actually, I meant to stream last night and then record. But tech was not being friendly, so here we are today. Got some armor generals and an Astro King, so already just nothing but good stuff on the way. This is going to be a tough group to handle. I can already tell field clear is not happening. Do apologize, this is just not a viable field to clear solo. I could give it a shot. Chances are I would be well out of healing potions by the time I got done with that portal. So I'm going to cut and run on the field and try for a dungeon clear at least here. Refresh my buffs. That was a brutal monster mix, too. Just that wandering Astro King. All it took to turn that into an absolute nightmare. Could take down the generals, could take down the Astro King, but them together, just too much pressure at one time. Actually surprised I mistimed the one elixir out there. Almost went down. It was the nightmare scenario. The armor general went for the combo attack, and then the Astro King shot off Vulcan. But we survived long enough to make it into the dungeon, and now we've got a Psyche Vision. Probably my favorite monster to face off with out of this group. Picking up some Diablo blades out of the chest. Another thing we should be on the lookout for are mimics in this range on a darkness field. Those will be about. Need to keep in mind the Vulcan damage. Astro Kings will hit me for 1,110 damage, like you see right there. So as long as my hit point totals are above that, I should be fine. Got a weird sort of look at my Blade Master there. Astro King done pushed me into the wall. Can already tell this dungeon not too pleased with me being here. But we're going for the clear. Love these little rooms. Got these little side parts here. Anytime you get unique geometry like this, it's fun to sit there and plan it out for a battle. Usually don't use it, but it's always good to have that plan in mind. There I just sort of backed off, let the armor generals come back together. And we'll be doing some Migan Rom. Of course, if you have some money saved up, the Leofail, the Net Slum, as it were, root towns will sell level 2 summons out of the magic shop, which makes this a great deal easier. Just trying to be as consumable light as I can with this build. Plus, honestly, a little extra time didn't really bug me. I've always been a bit of a long haul player on these things, and, you know, consistent damage. Always a preference of mine. Of course, generally, you don't want to be soloing level 98 fields. You kind of want to bring a friend. Something I'm very happy to say, of late. The fragment game has been booming a bit. Had some returning favorites, and some new folks playing. Even have an area server that I'm assuming has Macanu as the root town, though honestly, equally happy to report I haven't seen it not occupied yet, so picking up some cooked bile there. A little more nightshade, and that'll do it for the first floor. So a bit of a test, nothing too crazy. Couple close calls though, that one out in the field, and then I was a bit too casual with those armor generals and the spacing. Gotta get it together, tighten up my game a bit here on the second floor. As always, when it comes to a test this high level, I'm going to be opening those portals at a bit of a distance. If only to get a chance to gauge what I'm looking at before I'm in combat. Had someone remark on a recent video that it seems like the magical skills are a much higher premium. And I was actually talking it over with Emus a little bit, and personally, I thought that part of it was just me not building in an optimal manner. I tend to view things a little differently than most, and I never did profess to be a hard and fast optimizer as far as builds go. This is just something that works for me. But when it comes to the monster mix at this level, yeah, it's kind of a pain for physical builds. Everything's either physical tolerant or has high physical defense. It hits for a ton. Astra King's about as physical friendly an enemy as you get. And see what it's doing to me, a Blade Master at level 99. Does look like it's only going to be a 2-floor dungeon, so this is going to be on the shorter side as far as recordings go. Hopefully we're making up for that lack of quantity with a quality run today. Another close shave there. Got a couple more armor generals and I overran my spot. So now we gotta try and group them together, and this is gonna be a problem because they're gonna be trying like heck to separate. That was our best chance there. Sometimes the easiest way to group them up is let them hit you. Not an advisable strategy, but it worked this time. We got one more portal, and even though I've been playing kind of fast and loose with my character on this brief little excursion, I do believe I'm going to rebuff after this battle. So we don't have a situation similar to what we had last time. Amazingly, they were side by side, and the one armor general still finds a way to break free. Wasn't a great distance off, though, so we were able to get them sort of recouped there, and with this angle, having them one behind the other, felt fairly confident that we could get it into an isolated one-on-one situation. I don't know if my timing's off or what today, but certainly making for some dynamic gameplay. Well, I suppose it's no longer me just being overly cautious on the buffs. I see Rig Game and Rig Same did in fact wear off on me. Pop that treasure chest open. Should be more Diablo blades, I'd assume. And some more armor generals. In a very tiny room. Good thing about a tiny room is you can generally get them grouped together easily. The problem is, if they get too close, there is no escape. Right now we are at the elbow of the room, so I have a little bit of a bailout space to my left as the camera is pointed. But the big thing right now is just getting that lead armor general out of the way, and I don't think we have but one more cast before we gotta bail. Gonna bail left here. And yeah, you could see we took a passing shot there, and then the armor generals did separate, so. Ended up just swinging right around them, using the speed boost to our advantage. Got one armor general down, and the other one now below 1,300 hit points. This battle is well in hand. Probably the least harrowing of our encounters in this dungeon, it feels like. Except for maybe that first Psyche vision, that was pretty well in the bag. Yep, that is the run. Let's see what the statue gives us. An ultimate spear. And some noble wines courtesy of Shining Darkness. Taking a look at the gear we pulled, Diablo Blades, level 62 weapon. That's going to give you a thunder attack. Pair of thunder attacks, actually. And Deck Vorv to decrease the target's physical defense. Not a bad little weapon at all. Of course, the life drain on it. Could certainly do worse for a twin blade weapon, and you're getting up there in levels at level 62. Ultimate Spear was our statue chest item. It's a level 86 weapon for long arm. Gonna give you a water attack, a fire attack, and a thunder attack, along with some awakenings. And some spirit drain. Also have to love that physical attack of 34. Solid plus 4 to your elemental stat boosts. Not too much else to have been gotten here, just some nightshades and whatnot. Burned through a fair bit of the elixirs. But just for the sake of gamesmanship, we're going to try and clear at least one portal out in the field before we call this a run. Does feel like we kind of cheated you just running in here, but my goodness. Like I said, I think I could have ultimately handled that, but I don't think there would have been much left. Let's go ahead and pop a Fairy's Orb up one more time. We have one portal pretty close to the dungeon here. Let's see if we can just sneak over and, yeah, there's a Psyche Vision. May go through another portal here if we can. I know we're kind of tempting fate, but somewhat emboldened by surviving that dungeon run, and of course picking up a La Pumpkin, best grunty food in the game. Some more Diablo blades. Talk about tempting fate here. We did just pass a Spring of Mist. Generally, I would caution you against using a spring soloing, because wandering monsters will attack you while you're in this dialogue. But we're going to try it. We'll see what happens to Diablo blades in this field. Of course, we got our Grandpa level 5 variety. Should affect the Diablo blades, but which direction? Not sure. See you later, alligator. It's better than before. Got ourselves a Cayenne. And the Cayenne's going to be, well, that is an upgrade. Full-on level 71 weapon. Hitting with a 3-spot of fire attacks. Got our continually slash at high speed, spin like a top, and slash at high speed like a dance. Fire weapon through and through, nothing fancy or special about it. You got your plus 20 to fire, negative 5 to water element. But there you go, you could boost weapons here. I do believe the Cloudy Field will actually give a boost to all gear, but you should probably double check that, as I'm nowhere near as big an expert as I play myself up to be on this. Got a wandering monster there, but it's a Psyche Vision, so. Always important to keep an eye out for those that little red enemy box that pops up on the periphery there. As you can see, the magic attack boost we got is helping me greatly with the Megan ROM. Those elemental hits hitting in the triple digits, which looks far more impressive because that's when you get the big old numbers popping up on the screen. One of the little touches about this game that I think goes underappreciated was them scaling the numbers. Making the triple digits a bigger size and then quadruple digits, but huge. So you know when you hit, it's a sizable impact. Okay, it looks like 3 and 4 digits are the same size. I guess that was my brain just sorta going a little foggy on me there, but still. Bigger numbers for the bigger hits. That's what I was trying to allude to. Astro King out of this portal here. Probably the most demoralizing thing it could do is the Fade Away Vulcan. You've got it in melee range, you're doing your best, it's getting low in hit points, and then all of a sudden it's out of attack range and you're getting hit with a summons. It's a pain. Got some Afghans too. So if we run into another Psyche Vision here, it's in trouble. As we have the dual boost of magic attack and earth element. Unfortunately, with this Astro King here, only thing really in trouble is us. Doing our level best, though. Got it under half. Just finished it off there. Probably a good time for a refresher. I don't know when this started to be a second attempt at clearing the field, but it is. Again, timing couldn't have been better there. Rig game and rig same wearing off as I'm going through the old rebuff list. Seeing Astra King beautifully coming into frame there. If only every Wandering Monster was so camera friendly. Of course, when I'm fighting an Astra King, I'm seldom looking at the actual monster. Generally looking at my health bar and just keeping an eye on the combat, the corner of my eye, just to keep in melee range. Probably why I whiff occasionally on the distance, but I've been burned too many times by that. Lost our magic attack boost, but still have Afghans. Which is actually slightly more potent for us. That was another topic of discussion that came up of late, whether the attack and defense boosts for magic and physical attack or the elemental boosts were bigger. And ultimately it just comes down to your building your numbers overall, both yours and the monster you're facing. So like most things in Dot Hack, it's a very nuanced and situational answer in a game that seems very straightforward and simple. See, now the Wandering Monsters are coming out of the woodwork. Get a trifecta of armor generals. And I think we're just going to be trying to find the turnaround point for these guys. And I think we got it here. Yep. Every monster just sort of has a tether point. Like the old cartoon where the dog was tied to a rope next to its doghouse. Can only go so far from there before it turns around. And a lot of times in these open areas, if you could just retreat to a safe point where these monsters are turning around and they're in spell range, you could catch them like this. Make real easy work out of a hairy situation. So earlier when we were looking at that little encounter right when we got into the field, that would have probably been my best bet. And I didn't really capitalize on it. It just didn't pop into my head at the moment because that whole scenario was just a different kind of scary. Got 2 out of 3 there. Third one kind of got away, but it's going to make its way back here. Of course, we already had it about halfway, which is about where our SP pool is. Buffs wore off again, and I did hear a treasure chest in the background, so the goal is to get rid of this armor general in time to go back and grab that treasure. Get us a little extra gold to replenish these elixirs that we've burned through. Done and done. More Nightshade. Can't really argue with that. We'll need a minute to get back some SP anyway, so Rig Game comes right after Apdu. Usually throw Apdu for the speed boost first, because that's the longest lasting of the 3. Another Psyche Vision. Now we're sans Afghans. So back to our usual elemental 96. Still not a bad amount per hit on a ROM spell. very efficient damage, only spending 20 SP per cast, and getting a good bit of that back every time. And here comes an armor general. Just to make life tricky. We're going to try and sleep the Psyche Vision and then ice the armor general right beside it. There we go. Now just got to survive that hit. And if my timing's perfect, that should hold up pretty well there. Would have liked to have got the Psyche Vision as the targeted enemy, so I knew it would have been gone before the sleep wore out, but this works fine in itself. Important thing is both enemies were pretty well stuck in place, don't have to worry about that physical attack hitting us, and with the armor general being the targeted one, I know it's not going to break free, it's just going to inch closer and closer to us. See, that's more the scenario I was looking for. Now it's a one-on-one battle. Made it through another. Just a few more portals here. Astra King, sort of a welcome reprieve. At least for the square button for me. Certainly nothing about this monster says, you know, off day. Sitting right at that level, just above where a Vulcan would take me out. I think we timed our buffs perfectly again. Yep. If nothing else, we've had that going for us. We've had good timing on the support. Getting a little app curve there. Attack boost not going to help us in the least, as we're already at 99. See the damage getting laid in there. Took that one down to the bitter end, but wouldn't you know it, by hook or by crook, we got down to one more portal in this field. After that welcome to the field, I didn't think a full clear of this area was going to be attained. Not this day at least, but you know, building that little bit of confidence in the dungeon and having a much luckier run of things on the backside here has put us in this position. And now that I said that, get 2 armor generals and a Psyche Vision. Once again, not going to chance a thing, even with a physical defense buff, which again isn't going to help us a ton. Just going to find that turnaround point. There it is. Now that other armor general is, yeah, it's going to start wandering back here. We technically don't really need to move off this point to fight these things. It's just a matter of getting the timing right on these spells. Of course, I will want to go back and try and find that Psyche Vision after this, even though we've technically reached our goal of a field clear. All you have to do for a field clear is open all of the portals, and that's a bit of a misconception. You'll certainly not get as much experience, and the area server won't either, because the experience for both you and it is based on the number of monsters you defeat. And the type of monsters, by the way. Just something I thought I'd mention out of the blue and sort of randomly, but it came up apparently when another person was playing. They were running one of the farming dungeons in Crab Server and data draining a monster. The treasure in the chest is actually determined by the type and value of monsters you defeat, too. So even though it seems a little bit inane and a little bit counterintuitive, the experience value changing by draining a monster, even in the case of, hypothetically, my level 99 character that doesn't receive any experience, just the experience total calculated will change the value of the item in that statue chest at the end. Effectively meaning if you're in a farming dungeon and you drain something, you're going to throw off the whole table and you're not going to have a chance at all, really, of getting the intended rare, but you may find something entirely different. There's that Psyche vision we meant to fight the first time. Now rebuffed. Got it asleep on the first try, and this should be a fairly academic battle unless another wandering monster comes in. Certainly not going to waste any time after this. Maybe a second or two to see if chest spawns, but we'll be heading back to town and happy to call this adventure a full success. Hopefully this has been an entertaining recording. No, it's a little off the cuff, and I'm certainly not in top form. Don't know how many more of these I'll be able to get in over the summer, and I get the feeling that doing anything over the holidays this year is going to be out of the question. But that was a successful run in the books, and as we head back to town, I do want to thank you for checking out this video. This has been a Grumpy Old Guy Gaming, once again on the Shining Darkness server. That area word, if you're interested. Diablo's Bizarre Cinch, level 98 field. There's the gems, there's your information. You all take care, and we'll see you around.